See, every trader that I've worked with and coached along the way and made that huge breakthrough, they all have one thing in common. They stop trying to win their way out of trouble. Now, losing is something that you must take on board and you must understand that you have to get good at to get yourself to that next level. Whether it's relationships, whether it's sports, whether it's anything that you do, finances, businesses, you will know that you will lose until you understand that that is a part of the path. And in trading, it happens from the get-go. And you're not conditioned for it and you're not ready to understand how to lose. So in this video, I'm going to break down some key points. I'm going to show you some steps at the end of that and what I do on a losing streak to get out of this along the way. Now, the first things first is this. Losing streaks feel like an identity attack as you're going along the way. Now, what do I mean by that? A coach that I was working with last week was talking about how it always seems I've got red on the board. And then when they went and took the data, they had more green on the board than they did red. But they were putting their identity, their perception on themselves that they were just a losing trader because they were concentrating on the P&L and the P&L and the P&L. Now, if you just concentrate on the P&L, you may think that it's just a financial loss. It's not a financial loss. It's an identity loss, and you are just compounding this negative thought process in your mind that you are a loser rather than understanding how to lose. There's a big difference of being a loser and understanding how to lose. You see, the brain defaults into a revenge mode when you're trading. Because of one loss, this aversion in your hardwire, the way that we work, sees it as a weakness, but it's not a weakness. It's your biology that is actually giving you this perception that is a weakness. And most traders respond by increasing intensity, bigger size, more trades. It's complete backwards. And when you first get into trading along the way, without any guidance, without any mentor, and you don't understand this just by watching TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube videos. You must watch the key videos, how we do a lot of videos on psychology and how people do things around trading to redevelop and rewire your mind. And to rewire your mind to lose, if you're a confident person, if you have a little bit of ego, and I do suggest that you have a little bit of ego because that builds confidence, but not too much, it's going to be hard for you to accept what losing actually means. So let's break it down. Your emotional state, your reactions, is when you kind of give your edge away, all right? You've broken down your edge, you've not followed your edge, and then you have an emotional reaction. Now, that emotional reaction is going to be impulsive, like when you get anger or you can't get your own way when you're a child, or if you're still not mature, when you still can't get your own way, you react in an impulsive and emotional way. And when money's involved, and it's just a chart and it just seems like candles, it's even harder to control those impulse behaviors. And that's why I speak a lot about behavioral management. Understand your behavioral management. Aware when you're doing things you shouldn't be, accept the fact that you may need to stop certain things, and then you will understand your behavioral management. That is fine, but you must understand who you are and what your identity is. So last week I had a losing day. I've had about 30 days of a non-losing day. I had a losing day. I took a trade I should not have taken. It caused an emotional, impulsive reaction that caused me to go on tilt for that day. And I've been trading a long time and it can still happen. So that's why I'm making this video, because there's many traders out there who watch this and not profitable, don't take regular payouts, and they're trying to figure out why they keep doing what they are doing. So this is what I do, and this is how I step back and get back on the saddle, and the next day after hit $1,700 win, okay? This is what I did the next day. Simply is I accepted the loss. It hurt me at that time because I was due another payout. I decided not to take another payout and try and bring that account up. So number one rule is I broke my edge. I was trying to push too hard. So number one rule was I broke one of my edges, which always take payouts when I'm eligible to take payouts. I didn't do that this time. So there's one rule broken. So there is an imbalance now in my emotional state around this trade. But what I did was I accepted the loss. I accepted the loss completely before I took a next trade. Do you understand? Completely. I did not trade until the following day. I was not going to trade until the following week. But I decided to get back in the next day. But do you understand what I mean? Accept the loss completely before the next trade. Because if you don't accept the loss before the next trade, like I did, and that's how I went on tilt, I went in and tried to get it back. Impulsive revenge. I went in again with too much size. Impulsive revenge. And it humbled me very, very quickly. So 31 days of in the green was ended within 15 to 20 minutes of me breaking my edge rules. So then I had to then completely detach myself, lock all accounts, have a think about it. It took me a couple of hours to get over it because I've not done it for a long time. And then I went the next day. Now, in Tom Hugard's book, his Best Loser Wins, and if nobody's read that, go and read that. It's a different way of looking at the market. His core thesis behind that is like most traders enter the next trade while they're still in this emotional state. And that's why you will go on tilt. So think about that. You must have a shot clock. You must have a procrastination clock or a timer or something to stop you from trying to get into that next trade as quick as possible. It's very, very important. Now, another thing is, remember, you're not trading the chart, all right? You are trading your feelings when you are just going off the cuff and you're going outside of your parameters. And then you're getting in a trade straight away without having that gap, okay, where you can stop and think. You're going straight into it. It's all emotional. So the best thing to do, and this is still in step one, close the platform and write just one sentence. I want you to just write that down. Close the platform and write one sentence, all right? That loss is complete. It does not predict the next trade. That's what I want you to write down. That loss is complete. It does not predict the next trade. That's what we're going to do in step one. The title, just write it down. Step one, I'm going to accept the loss completely. That's what you're going to do, okay? I'm not going to take a trade when I'm emotionally still in the state from the previous trade. I must trade the chart, not my emotions. I must close the platform and write one sentence. The loss is complete. It does not predict the next trade. And then finally in step one, we're going to look at it as a goal. The goal isn't like positivity, right? It's neutral. We're looking at this as neutral because the market does not know that we've taken a loss. There's no positive, there's no negative. It's just neutral. So that's what we're going to do in step one. We're going to accept the loss completely. Step two, we're then going to go on to, we're going to shrink everything except our process. We're going to shrink everything except for our process. So we're going to cut size immediately. We're going to shrink. Look at the first word, shrink. We're going to cut size immediately. Not because we're punishing ourselves, but because the smaller size is going to equal less emotional noise. I have some great traders in the community and people that I coach, and the best traders with the longevity have very, very small size. They never feel like going crazy size. They have small size. They take the win and then they move on to the next trade. And sometimes that is one and done for the day and they move on for the next day. So cut size immediately if you are having an emotional bad losing streak or bad trade. Hugard also talks about the de-escalating the stakes. So your rational brain can rearrange. Because if you've gone in with your normal size and you've had a loss or you've broken your rules, if you go in with your normal size again, or even more, which is even worse, the revenge trading, your brain is not rearranging. It's still thinking on the same process. But if you de-escalate the risk, your brain can rearrange, get back to equilibrium, feel comfortable, and you're back aligned. So de-escalating the stakes like you would at the table if you're into casinos, your chips, de-escalate, bring that down, all right? Remove the target. So remove this stop obsession, like just trade the setup, not the outcome. Trade the setup, not the outcome. I always say to everybody, don't worry about the outcome because you cannot control anything to do with that. It's not within your power. Just control and look at the setup. Trade the setup. By the way, on 22nd of March, we're going to have a coffee and chat. It's free to join me. You have loads of these questions coming in the background, email, YouTube. So I thought, what best way to do that is obviously jump on a quick coffee and chat for an hour or an hour and a half, Sunday, the 22nd of March, 5 p.m. UK time. There is a link below. Go and get involved. We're only going to have a small group, maybe 20, maybe 25. Go and do that. Spaces are nearly gone. There is a link below. 22nd of March, 5 p.m. UK time. We're going to have a coffee and a chat. Now, let me continue. We're going to have one rule. That one rule, you are only allowed to evaluate your decision, never the result. One rule, we are only allowed to evaluate my decision, what I did, not the result of the trade. The result is irrelevant. If you're on a losing spree, forget the result. It's about concentrating on the process. And then I want you to ask, what was the right trade? Was that the right trade? Did I take the right trade or did I not take the right trade? Not did I make money. I need you to stay away from the monetary side of things. So that's step 2, shrink everything except your process. And then the final step in this is deliberately lose small to rebuild your mental edge. Deliberately lose small to rebuild the mental edge. Now, this is counterintuitive step, all right? And a lot of people would say, what do you mean deliberately lose small, all right? But it's very, very powerful. If not, it's the most powerful step out of these 3 steps. And again, Hugard argues that the best traders are comfortable losers. They've trained their brain to be very, very comfortable at losing. And this goes back to right at the beginning of this video when I was talking about you must be a master at losing in trading. So if you can deliberately lose small and get used to your brain seeing losses, you will become excellent at losing trades because you will understand that your edge over the course of a period of time will always give you a higher P&L. And if you don't know how to do a higher P&L, again, I can help you below. There's a link below. Go and do all that stuff if you want to join our private community. All right. I can help you get where you need to get to. But these videos are for people who have already got a strategy. They kind of know what they're doing, but they can't get over that finish line because they're probably engrossed by too much nonsense content in this world. Now, during this streak, all right, you're going to take small, low-stake trades with zero attachment to the outcome. I must stress, I've said it so many times, the outcome. Zero attachment to the outcome. Now, if you want to know about detachment, go and read some Stoic books. Marcus Aurelius, Ryan Holiday has a great loads of books. Go and watch those about detachment because you must be detached from the monetary side of things if you want to be successful in trading. So, small, low-stake trades with zero attachment. Now, one thing you must stop and think about is you're not trying to recover the money. When you go on a loss, this is the hard part. You instantly think, I need to go and get that money back. You're not trying to recover the money. You're trying to retrain your nervous system to re-enter the market without any fear or any aggression. That's what you're trying to do. If you concentrate on trying to get the money back, you're not going to understand and be aware and have that internal dialogue triggering on the right ways because you're just going to be thinking about the money. So you're going to increase size. You're going to take subpar trades. You're going to jump straight back in. We're not doing that. What we want to do is when we're on a losing streak or we take a loss out of our edge or we get into a trade that we shouldn't get into, this is going to happen. It happens to all traders. All right? Because the data is changing every single second. You are trying to retrain your nervous system. Now, one thing I have learned this year, my friends, is nervous system is the key to your success. I never really went down this path of thinking about my nervous system until the start of this year when something hit me quite hard and it affected my nervous system. And I didn't know what it was until I did dig deeper and it affected my nervous system. That's when I started to analyze what's going on within my nervous system. It's not about emotional behavior. It's not about just having discipline. Your nervous system must understand and deal with fear, aggression, impulsive behavior, FOMO, greed, revenge. Very, very important. And finally, on the step 3 is consistency of your behavior under pressure is your edge. That's what I teach. I teach you to make sure that you stick to your edge under pressure. That's what I coach people. That's how I get you funded. We've got 3 people funded again this week. 2 people taking a payout this week. I help you understand your behavior under pressure by sticking to your edge. I've got a simple strategy. I work with people on those types of things. Now, go over this video and go through those 3 steps that I've just spoken about, right? And think about how you can now do this within your trading. Because this is for where you need to get to. This is not beginner friendly. If you find this and you're a beginner, then boy, you've hit the jackpot. Because you don't normally find these things. And if you're a beginner, you probably get all the beginner kind of stuff, lifestyle kind of things that are, that are dying out. They're boring. They're dying out. They're boring. They don't work no more. You're probably getting that content. But if you found this video and you're a beginner, golden. Take this away and take notes from this video. Now, this is how I want you to look at it. I want you to look at your trading as trained behavior, not your personality. Remember at the beginning, I spoke about the identity. I don't want you to look at this as an identity or your personality. I want you to look at it as trained behavior. So the traders who come out the other side, because it's not easy for whatever you can see everywhere. It's not easy. It's very hard. But the traders who come out the other side of losing streaks or break-even traders, they aren't luckier or smarter. They just stopped making it mean something that it doesn't. They just stopped making it mean something that it's just not. All right. And the streak doesn't end with all the wins come back and da-da-da. It ends when you stop needing them to end. That's when the end of all this happens. When you stop needing, because if you're needing, you're wanting, which causes emotional triggers and impulsiveness along the way. Now, this is a deeper video, as you know, okay? And there's many resources below. There's a 30-day journal below. Go and download that. There's the coffee and chat with me. Go and download that. And if you're really serious of taking this to a level, if you want to take consistent payouts, then again, there's a link with me and you can work with me.